You don't need more clients. You need better clients who appreciate the work that you do. And you have a client who will be like struggling to pay you $2,000 a month, and there will be one who is happy to pay you $20,000 a month.
YouTube is a gold mine, man, because it's federal law. They can go anywhere in the country. They can handle anything. People know about YouTube. Attorneys know about it, but they don't understand, they don't know the power of it.
Hi there. I have a small but really meaningful favor to ask you. I watch at the stats on our YouTube channel and Spotify channel, wherever most people listen and watch our podcast. And I see that over 80% of everybody who listens to it regularly is not a subscriber. I'm asking you to subscribe to this channel. And the reason for that is my mission and the mission of my team is to help as many small law firm owners to learn how to transform their law firms into better businesses, and so they in turn enjoy better lives. When you hit subscribe button, you tell these platforms that this is content worth listening, worth viewing, and they in turn will show it to many other small law firm owners and hopefully help me fulfill our mission of helping them create a better business and enjoy better lives. So would you please do me this favor? It would mean the world to me, and hit the subscribe button. And my promise to you is that I will continue to work hard at creating good content with practical ideas that help you and your teams grow better law firms. Thank you. Welcome to GLF Podcast. I have a remarkable guest with me here today. Jeff Hampton cracked the code on attracting cases in volume in his 2 law firms through YouTube, which is very, very, very rare skill that we see out there. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sasha. I'm excited to be here.
You are a man of many talents, a father of 4. You run 2 law firms, one focused on criminal defense, another one on asset protection. It's a very specific asset protection. It's asset protection for short-term rental property owners. You have a YouTube Rainmakers business on top of that, and you're just into so many things, and you're so successful. How did all of this come together, and what did you do before you went into law?
Well, that's a
big question.
Big question there. The big question. So the quick answer to it was my first love was music. I was a musician. I was a jazz trumpet player. I played jazz trumpet and I toured Europe for a while. I played locally here. It put me through all of my college, paid for all my schooling, doing that. And as a musician, I had a creative aspect of it and I enjoyed it. The problem was I realized you really couldn't make much money being a jazz trumpet player, right? So it's hard to be able to really take care of your family in that arrangement. And one of the things that I had always had an interest in the law, and I kind of just decided, okay, I'm going to go into law school. But I was already from the very beginning knowing I would have no interest in working at a big firm. I don't want to just end up being kind of chained to a desk and working that. I knew at some point I was going to move in a direction of running my own law firm. But I loved, from a presentational perspective, of course, I was a jazz trumpet player. So I loved the idea of trial law. So I went in, was a part of the mock trial team at University of Houston, and then ended up working at the district attorney's office as a prosecutor for about five and a half years. Got 100 jury trials under my belt, got comfortable in front of the court and, trying cases. And so I left and started my own practice, a criminal defense firm. I didn't know a whole lot about entrepreneurship. Law school doesn't teach you much. Law school it teaches you about how to think like a lawyer, but nothing about business. You don't know anything about how to actually run a business. And even though I had majored some in business, in my undergraduate studies while I was doing music, that's outdated. Right? The stuff that you learn there in college with the advancement of things that have taken place in a very short period of time, everything I'd learned back then didn't really apply now. So I just went on an absolute journey of learning. I began to understand, I was not going to just find this stuff out unless I began to seek it out. So I began to do that. And we went from one lawyer, me, to now we have 7 attorneys. We've got a staff of over 20. We service the North Texas area. And I started taking some of the resources. Of course, you start making a little bit of money. You start looking at it. I started researching it and realizing I had some big tax advantages if I bought Airbnbs. I could do what's called bonus depreciation, where I could write off a lot of it and really help me from a tax perspective. So I started buying short-term rentals. I was anywhere between 2 to 5 short-term rentals over the last 5 years or so, investing in those, where I continued to learn that aspect of it. Cash flow really was a beneficial thing. And I met other investors. I met other people that were doing these things. And I had been researching and working with a friend of mine. His name's Stephen Tobin, who's also an attorney that has done asset protection work for about 10 to 15 years. And I said, hey, man, I think we can service these people. And this is an area right now that is not being met in this industry at all. There's a lot of people broadly talking about asset protection, but they're not really servicing this particular customer that really needs this. And I found people coming to me, asking me, saying, you're a lawyer. How are you protecting this stuff? How are you getting this done? And so that was the beginning of STR Law Guys, where Stephen and I put together that business, and that kind of ballooned that up, right? So I've got 2 businesses. And during that period of time, I'm running 2 YouTube channels for both of those businesses. One of those channels exploded. I'm at 432,000 subscribers right now, about 18 to 20 million views a month on the criminal defense channel. And I've only have 5,500 subscribers on the short-term rental channel under the name Jeff Hampton. But both of those make 7 figures. So one of them makes me about 2 million extra a year for the criminal defense firm. The other one makes me 50,000 or so a month. So, I mean, we're over 7 figures for the business, but you're talking about 500,000 to 600,000 more in revenue just because of our organic content. I've never run one ad on YouTube, not one. It's all organic content. And so it's evergreen. And so as we began to stack that, it's like, we're going to go all in on this. As an example, I get around 200 to 250 calls, local calls per month for my criminal defense from YouTube. Local calls, highly qualified leads that call in just from the YouTube channel. And so guess what happens? Well, over time, other attorneys see this. They start calling me saying, man, you got to show me how to do this, because how are you being able to figure out how to do this on YouTube? And that was the brainchild for YouTube Rainmakers, where I began to then actually consult and work with other attorneys, helping them understand how they can build their brand and their business through the power of YouTube. And that's kind of led to all of those businesses in play over the last decade.
So from professionally playing jazz trombone
Jazz trumpet. Yeah, jazz trumpet.
To criminal defense, to short-term rental asset protection, to helping other lawyers and other professionals get business through YouTube. Did I get the journey right?
That's right.
And now, how many videos did you post in your criminal defense channel on YouTube?
So it's a good question. It depends on, if you look at it right now, it says it's over 1,000 videos. Now, a lot of them are shorts. Mm-hmm. If you were to actually look at I've posted 1 video per week for the last 3+ years. So that's at least, I would probably have done 200 or 300 long form videos, because my videos are now anywhere between 15 to 25 minutes long, right? So I've done 300 or 400 long form videos, and then I do 2 shorts a day. So you can do the math on that. So it's over 1,000 videos, but organically, me sitting down and recording them, 300 or so. And then on the asset protection channel, I've tried to do about 1 per week for the last 1.5 to 2 years. So you're talking about, spend a lot of time in front of the camera, recording a lot of content, and then repurposing the best part of that content to all my other marketing channels.
It's amazing. And before we hit the record button, you mentioned that you have 1 video that you posted under criminal defense law firm 3 years ago. And it continues to bring in about a case a month 3 years later. And if I'm not mistaken, you said in total, it generated over 100 cases, each valued at $8,000 to $10,000, right?
That's correct. Yes.
So 1 video, about $1 million in gross revenue.
So if you were to go on my channel, do a quick search under the search feature there and type in aggravated assault. Yeah. It's an aggravated assault deadly weapon video specific to Texas. Okay. It is not impressive. It's not a great looking production value. The camera's kind of, it's not high quality. The audio could be a little bit better. And it was during the pandemic where I probably looked like I needed another haircut, right? And so while all this is going on, though, what I did do is this, and this is what's key for lawyers to understand. I looked right into the camera and I pretended there's somebody standing behind that camera. That's a client that walked into my office that is afraid that their life is over because they were arrested for an aggravated assault that they are not guilty for. And they want to know, what can I do to save my life?
Mm-hmm.
And so I looked right at that camera and I treated it like a consultation, and I gave away all the secrets. And then that made them want to buy my implementation. So when I did that approach, and then you optimize it for search, you have to optimize your title for search, optimize your description, and then Google Brain actually, that Google's rules the world. They have their amazing AI can take every word you say from the transcript, and it can help determine what it should be optimized for when people are searching, both on YouTube and on Google, because Google owns YouTube. So as a result of that, it began to show up in searches all over the place. So this is what people don't understand. YouTube is not only the second largest search engine in the world, but for those under 40, as many people search on Google and TikTok now, YouTube and TikTok now, as they do on Google. So you're talking about many, many people are searching for video content for the answers to their questions. And we know a lot of attorneys are out there trying to rank for Google, but there's a fraction of them that are trying to rank for TikTok and YouTube.
Yep.
And if you dive into that, that's what I did on this video. And that's why it's getting, we've made over $1 million on this video.
A really good point, and I know exactly why so few try to rank on YouTube, while so many try to rank on Google. And the answer is actually very simple, and that is everything that you do on Google is done for your marketing. You hire a company, marketing company like mine, and we'll do it for you. Everything that you do on YouTube, guess who has to sit in front of camera?
Right. Yeah.
And most attorneys, from my experience, and I know thousands and thousands and thousands, they'd rather stay in the comfort zone and do what it is that they're trained to do, where they have years of experience, which is helping clients, doing casework. Sitting in front of a camera is very uncomfortable. But as I'm imagining, Mr. or Mrs. Law Firm owner who is watching this podcast or listening to this recording or reading this content, they're thinking, yeah, man, this was 4 years ago. You had your breakthrough because it was a while ago. Is it possible to have this type of breakthrough on YouTube today, 2025?
Yeah, so a great example of this, one of the clients that we work with at YouTube Rainmakers under our Done For You consulting or our Done For You package that we provide, they've only launched 3 videos. 3 videos. We've only not even a month into their content. They've already had 2 new clients call specifically mentioning the YouTube video, and they hired them.
Yeah.
So they signed up 2 new clients they wouldn't have got any other way. And that video is now going to be on the internet, on Google, on YouTube forever. It's just going to sit out there and continue to bring in more clients. They've already experienced their ROI. Everything else is gravy. So when people ask me, is it too late? No, it's not too late, because most attorneys have still not taken advantage of this. Now, I will admit, I do believe there will be a time, like in anything else, where markets can become saturated, no matter what it is. And I think there could come a time, particularly if AI starts to really run in here and it can become part of someone's done for you on a marketing side of this, where people are able to flood the market with content, then, things swing. If that happens, it'll get saturated. Then it'll all go back to who's doing things differently, who's doing things in a way that grabs people's attention and in unique ways. And so I don't believe it's too late to do anything. Red ocean or blue ocean marketing, it doesn't matter to me. Right now, I'm telling you, most attorneys are not doing this the right way. You know what they're doing? They're doing vanity videos that talk about how great they are. And they're doing commercial type videos where I think I'm watching a TV commercial. And that, I don't care about that. I don't need to see some guy in a suit telling me that he's the greatest lawyer. I'm never going to hire him. But if you tell me the stuff I need to know to protect my family member on an aggravated assault charge, like how I go in front of a grand jury, how it could be no billed, how all of these things could be taking place in action steps, you're going to have people binge watching your content. And that's what leads to people trusting you. The reason why YouTube works is it builds trust. It absolutely builds trust. And it brings people down the rabbit hole of searching you, looking at your reviews. That leads to, and that's why, attribution now is not just one thing. Many people will find you one place and they'll look everywhere else, and then they'll purchase. Maybe they'll actually buy. But YouTube is a big component of that, because I don't want to read your blogs. I'm just going to be frank. I'm not going to read your blogs, but I'll watch your video. So a lot of the clients that I use now will take their videos and implement them into their website strategies. They'll implement them into their blogs post strategies. And they're seeing a lot more return from that, from one video that was created.
Yeah. counter that some people want to watch videos and others do want to read blogs. So it's just how you prefer to consume content. But
And that may be a good example for me.
yeah,
You're correct. It doesn't mean kind of like putting together a sales page, right? A conversion page. If you're putting together a conversion page, there will be somebody who wants to read it, and there you got to get your copy right.
yeah,
Right. On the other side, there's someone who may want to watch it. You're providing complementary ways for people to
100%.
convert.
Yeah. So that's a really good point, but I want to go a little bit deeper on the saturation point that you brought up a minute ago, and that is we can argue that Google is saturated and YouTube is saturated and TikTok is saturated. All of those perform to an extent. Even TikTok performs as a search engine. You can search for stuff on TikTok, but especially YouTube is the second largest search engine owned by Google, the top search engine in the world. And I think both of these platforms are incredibly saturated. Like there is, for any topic, you could find answers.
Mhm.
But both continue to perform even for newcomers. So help me understand if you know, like, how does that work? So, for example, the example that you just gave, where you produced 3 videos, I know we talked about before we hit the record button that that's for an estate planning law firm. The number of videos that have to do with estate law is insane. Yet this
Mhm.
client of yours, you post 3 videos for him, and he signs 2 cases within the first 30 days. The market is saturated, but he still gets business. How does this work?
Well, it's kind of like anything else. There may be a lot of people doing Google ads, but it doesn't mean they're all doing them right. And I will tell you, when you put together good videos that are optimized for your local area, because the other thing is some people will put out videos that are just broad and you'll get calls. Maybe you'll get a call from all over the place, but it's not an area you service. You've got to make sure and you get very niche in your SEO. So when you're going to optimize these videos on YouTube, you need to be optimizing it for your service area, and there's several different strategies
Yep.
that can work for that if it's done right. And then by doing that, and then you're talking the language of your potential customer. So it's a combination of both creating the video right. And I'm going to tell you where most people get it wrong, by the way. Go look at lawyer content. Tons of lawyers out there. You can see all kinds of stuff that I'm not saying that they do it. The number one thing, they have no idea what they're doing. They don't know how to do thumbnails. They have no idea how to do titles. 75% of YouTube is earning the click. Like you can have the greatest content on the planet, but if I don't click on it, I'll never know. So if you don't spend time on good thumbnail design, if you don't spend time on titles that complement that thumbnail, no one's ever going to click on the video.
Yeah.
So these are the kind of things no one teaches anyone about. You could go, talk about, I'm going to do YouTube, and you could go hire all kinds of different people. They won't know the first thing about putting together good thumbnails. So part of what I've been able to learn over time is I didn't just look to the legal industry marketing side of things for the answers. I went to the entertainment industry. I learned from other people who have learned how to earn the click, and I took those concepts and implemented them into the legal community,
Yeah.
right? That's what helps convert.
That's a great way of thinking about this. And just to add final point to market being saturated, but you're still able to generate business even if you're new to it. That's how it works with everything, whether it's Google or YouTube or any other platform. Just because you're starting out now, when it appears to be saturated, doesn't mean that you cannot succeed. We see law firms that enter into the market now, 2024, 2025, and they're having breakthroughs a few quarters into it. Not like day one, not month one, but a few quarters into it, business is coming. Just some patience, perseverance, and just gotta keep on moving forward. So
Completely agree.
yeah,
Absolutely.
interesting. You're very outgoing and very animated. I know that a lot of attorneys are introverts. Would you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
I would say I try to become more of an extrovert.
Mhm.
My normal, when I was a kid, I was very introverted. Over time, I think being a musician, being a trial lawyer, and training myself to be more comfortable with presenting and being authentic and just not having the imposter syndrome about worrying about those sort of things when you step into a situation. It's allowed me to be more comfortable being who I am. But I meet a lot of people who I look at and I think they're extroverts, and I ask them and they tell me they're an introvert all
Yeah,
the time.
yeah. The reason why I asked about this is I'm thinking when somebody watches this, one concern that they would have is it too late to start now? Another concern is I hear this from a lot of attorneys. I am an introvert. I don't want to be in front of camera. This is
So
hard for
here's what
me.
I tell them. I tell them, don't be an introvert or an extrovert, be an expert.
Hmm.
So here's the deal. You're an expert in what you do. As an attorney, you know what you know. That immediately makes you 10 times more qualified to talk about what you know than anyone else out there. So if you don't have to worry about being the best speaker, you don't have to worry about that's not where it's at. The people, if you do this the right way, the people who are going to watch your content, they're not coming to you because, you're an amazing orator or that you've got this smooth delivery. They're coming to you because they want to know the knowledge in your head that right now they can't maybe even get from their own lawyer, or maybe they can't get information from anywhere else on the internet. And they're going to listen to you. Even if you maybe fumble every once in a while, or maybe you look down on occasion, they're not caring about that. They're really honed in on the information, the secrets you're going to share with them that they don't think they can get anywhere else. That's what the viewer cares about. They don't care about whether you think you're an extrovert or an introvert. All you have to do is be an expert. If you were standing in a room with other attorneys, you talk shop about what you know. You just need to look at that and treat it like you're talking to one person, not treat it like, oh God, how is this going to look when it's out on YouTube and thousands of people see it? The great part is when you first start, thousands of people won't see it. So it's the best time to practice, right?
That is such a good point. I hope as you're watching this or listening to this content, you actually don't just listen and say, oh, great idea, and then decide to do nothing about it. You actually take that action, just like Jeff, you did. And I think you started around the COVID time, right? 2020, give or take, somewhere there
Yep,
about.
that's right.
And you said that as of today, your criminal defense gets about $2 million worth of business through YouTube channel. And your asset protection does about half a million to $600,000 just through the YouTube channel.
That's right. That's right. So the beautiful thing about that is, even if there's ups and downs and swings of things that might happen with the way Google might change ads or just things that take place, that is the steady process that I know. That content, if I didn't create another video moving forward, that content's ranking, it's bringing in new people, and it's building and elevating my brand. And I can repurpose it for everything else I do.
Would you do it if you were starting just today and you didn't have those two channels? You're starting brand new. Let's say you're starting a brand new law firm, criminal defense, personal injury, anything. How would you build it? With the help of videos.
So the first thing I would do is I would, and I tell people this all the time. You start your YouTube channel, and most people that are really nervous about starting content, like how do I do this? Um, you take you start with short form videos. It's okay. You got to get comfortable in front of a camera, and maybe you do 60-second clips, something that makes it easier for you to get started. And people go, well, what do I talk about? I'm gonna tell you what I did when I first started. I said, here's all my practice areas. I like to deal with all these. Now, there's some things I could have done different to optimize this, but I'm getting a lot of calls from these already. I know a ton about this information. I'm going to create videos about this, about all these practice areas, and then I'm going to optimize them for search, just like I did my website and all of my Google stuff. And I'm going to start putting that out there. Now, that covered me for my first 75 to 100 videos because I was covering practice area stuff, and I treated every one of those as a consultation. And if no one did anything else, and if that's all they did, they would begin to, I mean, I know when I did that, my first 75 videos, I was already getting 40 to 50 calls a month already, just from those videos. Why? Because no one was doing videos about aggravated assault deadly weapon at the time. Like there's nobody doing that type of content. And now it's ranking and I'm putting it out there. So if someone were to tell me, it would be the same like if they came to you, hey, I got a new website. What am I going to do? Well, let's figure out what you're an expert in, what you're able to provide services in. Let's figure out your locality, where you're actually providing these services in. And then we need to curate that content where it's a clickable video, something that gets people's attention, creates a curiosity gap, and then at the same time is findable in search so that you stand out when someone does do a search. And then the beautiful thing about these platforms is they care about two things. YouTube cares about giving the viewer what they want to watch, which if they're searching for it, they're going to serve your video up, and then they want to keep people on the platform, right? Those are the main goals. And YouTube works for you, not against you, whenever you begin to take those steps.
Really good point. There's one thing that I do disagree with, though, and that is, I bet if we were searching on YouTube in your geographical market for criminal defense attorney or for aggravated assault stuff, I bet we could have found some videos. I bet. But Google penalizes those who produce and post content infrequently. And most channels, especially professional services like lawyers, they start and then they stop.
Oh, yeah.
And then your content doesn't show up. You have to, if you commit, it's like brushing teeth. Like you said, you produce 3 long form videos per week and then a bunch of shorts that you cut out from those longer form videos. It's a discipline. It's just another practice within the business that you commit to, and you keep on doing that. And then voila, you add $2 million a year in business because you committed to it. But if you start and then you stop and then you resume 6 months later or a year later, that's a no-go for YouTube. YouTube rewards creators that are there very, very consistently. So I think the fact that you just stuck with it, really stuck with it, I think you're getting rewarded for it.
Well, I will say, I always tell people YouTube is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You've got to focus on success is maintaining the journey, not reaching that destination. You don't just say, I'm going to hit 100,000 subscribers and I've made it. That doesn't mean anything, right? You can have, I know channels that have 1 million subscribers, but they haven't posted in a while and now they don't have very many viewers, right? A subscriber can sit out there. It doesn't mean it's helping you grow and actually make money. So I agree that consistency does matter on YouTube. But I will tell you, the piece that everyone misses in marketing, in my opinion, is you have to know your audience. So it's not just getting a video out. It's making sure I'm hitting the fears, frustrations, wants, and desires of my particular viewer avatar, which should be my customer avatar. And the more I really focus on that, just like in copy and anything else you do in marketing, the more you're going to get an outsized return on that for your efforts. So that's part of what I consult people on. That is, that particular estate planning attorney, one of the things we talked about is tell me your ideal customer. He's identifying somebody in their 60s, right? Somebody who, and these are the concerns that they have. When you start speaking that way, you also put together your thumbnails and your titles that take that into consideration. You start seeing you're hitting the pain points of these people, even if you don't get thousands of views. So I agree. It's like anything else. If you created a website right now, and then you just quit doing anything to it, and maybe it was crushing it, what's going to happen?
You just got a business card. That's it.
Yeah.
It's just a business card that's hanging there in the digital ecosphere. That's it. It will do everything.
You have to stick to
business.
I agree.
Jeff, I bet since you launched your first video, your life has changed quite a bit. You added another business. You added another business. What do you see for yourself in the next 5 years?
Well, fortunately, I've been blessed enough to have the opportunity to have a really great team for my 2 businesses, for my 2 law firms, where I'm not as tied into that as much as I was. I still have an opportunity to really be, a part of that leadership team, and I'm a founder of it. But my real passion is to continue down the journey of this media development, both for YouTube and in other areas. So I love helping other attorneys and YouTube Rainmakers reach these goals as well. And so I have found I learned this, and I've expanded my ability to do more when I follow that passion and that drive and momentum and continue to move forward on it. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to continue to go down that rabbit hole of YouTube Rainmakers and try to expand this and try to be the leading video YouTube service provider for lawyers in the industry. And so that's what I'm excited about continuing to do, and continuing to see my law firms continue to grow as well through the power of YouTube.
Love it. So somebody watching this or listening to this episode, Rainmakers, YouTubeRainmakers.com, is that the domain?
Yes, sir.
How do they connect with you? If you're open to getting hit up by somebody who's interested in this, how would they connect with you?
Yeah, they can do it a couple of ways. One is to reach me, YouTubeRainmakers.com. You can also look me up on LinkedIn. Just look up Jeff Hampton. You'll see the YouTube Rainmakers logo on there, and you can directly message me. I'm happy to answer questions. I'm actually happy to share resources. We've got great resources for free that we give out to people to help them get started on their YouTube journey.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I love talking shop.
Love it. Jeff, thank you so much for sharing the insights. This was very, very, very impactful.
Well, thanks, Sasha. I appreciate you bringing me on.
Yeah, my pleasure.